You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Chandra.
And I'm Raisha Sehgal. On the show today, the US envoy to the United Nations has said that Washington is watching Israel's action on the ground in northern Gaza to make sure that Israel is not pursuing a policy of starvation. Meanwhile, Israel has denied blocking aid and has said that 50 trucks arrived in northern Gaza. We will be tracking all that is happening in West Asia on World DNA today.
Also, right here on the show from West Asia, shifting our focus to the US, where in an interview, US Vice President Kamala Harris has said that her presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And this comment comes just days after she drew flack for saying that she would not have done anything different in the past 4 years of Biden's term had she been president. We are going to be tracking those developments for you closely as well as the race heats up to the US presidential polls. This and a lot more right here on World DNA. Let's start with the headlines.
At UN Security Council meet, US says it is watching Israel's actions to ensure that it does not have a policy of starvation in northern Gaza, as Israel claims more than enough aid has reached the area in the past few days.
Hezbollah claims to destroy another Israeli tank near the Lebanese border with a guided missile, day after Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon kill 16 people, including a city mayor.
The United States announces a $425 million arms package for Kyiv hours after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky unveils victory plan to end Russia's invasion. Moscow warns planned risks sparking direct conflict with NATO.
North Korea says its constitution now defines the South as a hostile state, days after blowing up roads and railways linking the two Koreas.
British singer Liam Payne, former member of the pop group One Direction, dies aged 31 in Argentina. Police say death after falling from third floor of a hotel in Buenos Aires.
Carlos Alcaraz sets up a blockbuster clash with his idol Rafael Nadal in the semi-final of the Six Kings Slam. World number one Yannick Sinner to lock horns with Novak Djokovic. At least 16 people, including a city mayor, were killed as Israel carried out dozens of strikes on Hezbollah targets, causing widespread destruction.
Right, Shivan, and the destruction was caused in several areas of Lebanon on Wednesday. The IDF airstrike on Nabathie municipal headquarters is the biggest attack on an official Lebanese state building since the start of the Israel campaign. Lebanese officials denounced the strike, which also wounded more than 50 people, saying it was proof that Israel's offensive against Hezbollah was now shifting to target the Lebanese state.
The Israeli military said it destroyed a tunnel network which was used by Hezbollah militants in the area of Mahibeb, a town in southern Lebanon. The army said in a statement that the troops conducted targeted raids on a large network of underground infrastructure and tunnel shafts that included living quarters and armories and found a large quantity of weaponry.
Earlier, UNIFIL said that the Israeli army forces fired at one of its positions in South Lebanon, though the Israeli army clarified, issuing a statement that it was not targeting UNIFIL infrastructure sites and forces in Lebanon, but rather the Hezbollah militants there.
In the latest, Hezbollah said it destroyed another Israeli tank near the Lebanese border with a guided missile after close combat with Israeli troops staging incursions in the area. The militant group said it had targeted another tank in a similar strike near a border village on Wednesday.
In northern Israel, meanwhile, IDF's air defense systems were triggered and shot up on Wednesday night. About 30 seconds later, footage showed a blast on the ground along with echoing sirens.
In southern Israel, the Al-Quds brigades, the armed wing of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement, said it fired rockets towards Sderot and Niram areas, while the IDF said 2 projectiles that crossed from the northern Gaza Strip were intercepted. Meanwhile, Washington said it wants Israel to take further action on the humanitarian situation in Gaza. The US acknowledged Israel's initial steps, such as approving new warehouses and staging facilities for the UN and other aid groups, but emphasized that the US expects tangible results, including more trucks delivered.
So we have seen them taking initial steps over the past several days, but of course the proof will be in the pudding ultimately, and we want to see them take additional steps, and we want to see ultimately the results change, and the results will be more trucks coming in, more food getting in, more water getting in, and civilians having the basic needs that they require to go about their daily lives.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened an emergency meeting on Wednesday to discuss expanding humanitarian aid to Gaza. The Prime Minister's Security Cabinet is now expected to discuss the matter further on Sunday.
Furthermore, the United States told the UN Security Council Washington is watching to ensure that Israel's actions on the ground show that it does not have a policy of starvation in the northern Gaza Strip.
Quote-unquote policy of starvation in northern Gaza would be horrific and unacceptable and would have implications under international law and U.S. law. The government of Israel has said that this is not their policy, that food and other essential supplies will not be cut off, and we will be watching to see that Israel's actions on the ground match this statement.
Meanwhile, Qatar's Prime Minister said on Wednesday that there has been no conversations on engagement with any parties for the last 3 to 4 weeks to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Sheikh Mohammed, who is also the foreign minister, has led the mediation efforts for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas so far.
Unfortunately, we've seen that the efforts being hindered in the past few weeks, and basically in the last 3 to 4 weeks, there is no conversation or engagement at all, and we are just moving in the same circle with the silence from all parties, and this is unfortunate.
And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani has sent us this report from New York. Take a look.
The United Nations Security Council met to discuss the Gaza crisis amid intense military operations by Israel, as well as civilian casualties. The United States warned Israel against what it called a policy of starvation, deeming it unacceptable under international law. However, Israel's UN ambassador Danny Danon accused Hamas of hijacking aid. 38 humanitarian organizations have condemned Israel's actions as being, quote unquote, a horrifying level of atrocity. The United States, first President Biden and then the ambassador here at the UN, threatened potential restrictions on military aid if Israel fails to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Now, with international pressure mounting, Israel faces a critical juncture, balancing security concerns with humanitarian obligations. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
Well, the Biden administration has issued a stern warning to Israel. Increase humanitarian aid into Gaza within a span of 30 days or face potential cuts to U.S. military support.
Well, our next story explains how this ultimatum comes just as Washington prepares to send Israel its advanced THAAD missile defense system, along with 100 U.S. troops to operate them. Take a look.
Israel continues to pound Gaza. The bombardment over the last 1 year has completely devastated the enclave. Israeli troops continue their assault in a bid to eliminate Hamas. But it is Gazans who are enduring unimaginable horror. Now, in a dramatic escalation of diplomatic pressure, the Biden administration has delivered a stark ultimatum to Israel. Boost humanitarian aid to Gaza within 30 days or face potential cuts to crucial U.S. military support.
What we have seen over the past few months is that the level of humanitarian assistance has not been sustained. In fact, it has fallen by over 50% from where it was at its peak. So,
Israel has been cautioned that its access to U.S. foreign military financing depends on allowing at least 358 trucks into Gaza daily, a move aimed at alleviating the worsening humanitarian crisis. The White House insists this 30-day deadline is not linked to the upcoming U.S. presidential election, but rather a response to escalating civilian casualties and deteriorating conditions in Gaza. Various aid agencies have also shared the same sentiment. Paradoxically, even as it issues this warning, the U.S. is deploying its most advanced anti-missile defense system, the THAAD, in Israel. 100 American troops are in Israel to operate it. The conflicting signals, threatening to cut military aid while simultaneously bolstering Israel's defenses, reflect the delicate balance that the United States is trying to maintain. President Biden's opposition to attacks on Iranian nuclear or energy facilities underscores fears of a spiraling regional conflict with global economic repercussions. All eyes are now on Israel's next move. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
U.S. President Joe Biden has announced a $425 million arms package for Ukraine.
The package includes air defense capability and armored vehicles. On a call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Biden stressed on his efforts to surge security assistance to Kyiv over the remainder of his term in office. Biden is also set to hold a virtual meeting of Ukraine's allies in November as he tries to shore up support for Kyiv before possible return of Donald Trump to the White House.
Zelensky has said that the latest American package also includes long-range weapons. Ukraine has been pressing for permission to fire these long-range missiles deep into Russia, but the West has been reluctant to greenlight that move so far. However, in an added boost to Washington's package, Australia will donate an aging fleet of 49 American-made Abrams tanks to Ukraine. The M1A1 Abrams tanks, weighing over 60 tons and equipped with heavy firepower, were due to be decommissioned next year, but they will instead be sent to help Kiev's war effort.
Zelensky, meanwhile, has revealed his victory plan, which is aimed at ending the war against Russia. Well, here's a report on the 5-point plan proposed by the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Take a look.
Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelensky.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky unveiled his much-anticipated victory plan on Wednesday.
Slava Ukraini.
An outline that he said could end the current war with Russia no later than next year. As Moscow's forces advance in the east and a bleak winter of power cuts looms, Zelensky said victory rested on 5 points that were in the hands of Kiev's Western allies. They included an invitation to join NATO and the freedom to use Western weapons to strike deeper into Russia. He said Kyiv needed what he called a, quote, comprehensive non-nuclear strategic deterrence package to protect against future threats from Russia, a Western role in protecting Ukraine's natural resources from Russian attack, and post-war pledges for reconstruction. The plan is a major test of the political will of Kyiv's key allies, who have poured in many billions of dollars of weapons to support Ukraine. NATO has said Ukraine is heading for membership, but has stopped short of issuing an invitation.
This is clearly Ukraine's victory plan, which we, of course, take note of, we will discuss.
NATO Chief Mark Rutte on Wednesday said he was aware of the details of Ukraine's victory plan, but did not directly respond to Kiev's demand.
This is something which will take place behind closed doors.
Russia on Wednesday denounced the victory plan, saying Zelensky was trying to push NATO into a direct conflict with Moscow. Zelensky's proposal comes more than 2 years since Russian forces invaded Ukraine in the largest military conflict Europe has seen since the Second World War. The Ukrainian military managed to repel the initial Russian onslaught and even recapture swaths of territory. But as the sides settled into a grinding ground war in the east, Kiev's forces found themselves outnumbered and under pressure. Moscow turned to unrelenting drone and missile attacks on Ukraine's civilian infrastructure. And next month's U.S. election could propel Donald Trump, who has been consistently skeptical of Ukraine aid, back to the White House.
Mr. President, welcome back to the White House. Welcome back to the Oval Office.
Zelensky met U.S. President Joe Biden, his key ally, in Washington at the end of September to present the plan. Zelensky said he would travel to a summit of European Union leaders in Brussels on Thursday.
Over to the U.S. elections are about 3 weeks away. The race for the White House has tightened as presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump continue campaigning through the battleground states.
Well, let's now have a look at the latest in what is being seen as a neck-and-neck battle between Harris and Trump. Harris laid the blame on Republicans for failing to pass a border bill. This while she was being grilled in an interview with Fox News on Biden administration's efforts to tackle a surge in illegal immigration, which is an important issue this election. She, however, made it very clear that her presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's tenure.
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership.
Addressing a town hall, Trump stood by a debunked claim that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, were stealing residents' pets or taking wildlife from parks for food. He told voters he was just saying what was reported. Trump called himself the father of IVF before an all-female audience at an election campaign.
Well, leaving the presidential race aside, there is another battle going on between Donald Trump and the makers of a movie based on the Republican leader's life.
Well, the film is slated to release in the United States on Friday, but it has been courting controversy since May, when the film was first screened at the Cannes Film Festival. Ahead of the release, the writer and director of The Apprentice reacted to Donald Trump slamming his portrayal in the film. The director went as far as saying that Trump's tweets would only help the film.
I'm not surprised, there is a Trump fatigue, there is an election, there are serious stuff going on, but also we have such a small budget to promote the movie, to market the movie. We are the David in this match. So we really need Mr. Trump to do more tweets for us.
It's not political. It's not written as politics. So I don't know what the political outcome could be. I think it's a really important character study that Americans, the whole world should see, but Americans specifically, because we're voting in a month, and then make your own decisions. We make the movie, you decide.
The former U.S. president and returning presidential nominee Donald Trump had strongly reacted to the movie, calling it fake and classless and a politically disgusting hatchet job. Trump, in his post on Truth Social, went on to refer to the movie's writer as human scum and accused the makers of the movie who are trying to hurt a political movement in the US.
A massive funeral was organized in northern Nigeria following a deadly fuel tanker explosion that claimed the lives of at least 147 and injured around 140 people.
The latest accident took place in Nigeria's Jigawa state on Tuesday when a fuel tanker crashed after going off course to avoid collision with another vehicle. According to the police, the crash led to an explosion triggering a massive inferno, claiming the lives of victims trying to collect the fuel which was spilt on the road.
Authorities say that several bodies were burnt and were unrecognizable, with the death toll likely to go up further. Nigerian officials, alongside several other mourners, took part in the mass burial held in the Jigawa state. Legislators also offered their condolences by observing a minute of silence in the parliament.
Meanwhile, Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assured of a comprehensive review of the country's fuel transportation system while promising to support those who have been affected. Fuel tanker explosions are common in Africa's most populous nation, where roads can be poorly maintained and residents often look to draw off fuel following these accidents.
As Nigeria suffers one of its worst economic crises in the region, fuel has become a precious commodity in the nation. In a month's time, state oil company hiked fuel prices for the second time last week. The price of petrol has increased fivefold since President Bola Tinubu took office. Accidents involving tankers are frequent in the country. Last month, at least 59 people died when a fuel tanker collided with a truck carrying passengers in northwestern Niger state. Nigeria's Road Safety Commission says over 5,000 people died in road accidents in Nigeria last year.
All right, shifting our focus to India now. The government of India has ordered the complete withdrawal of the Counter-Terrorist Commando Force NSG from VIP security duties.
The Union Ministry of Home Affairs has also sanctioned a fresh battalion of specially trained personnel to be attached to the CRPF VIP security wing. These personnel were recently withdrawn from Parliament security duties. Now, as per sources, the protection of 9 Z+ category VIPs being guarded by the Black Cat Commandos of the National Security Guard will now be taken over by the Central Reserve Police Force, the CRPF. Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, veteran BJP leader and former Deputy Prime Minister Lal Krishan Advani, former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister and Democratic Progressive Azad Party President Ghulam Nabi Azad are among the 9 leaders who have Z+ security.
Well, sources said that the transfer of duties between the two forces under the Home Ministry is expected to be completed within a month. As a federal contingency force, the National Security Guard has been assigned the specific role of dealing with all aspects of terrorism in any part of the nation. The NSG is modelled on the pattern of the SAS of the UK and the GSG-9 of Germany. It is a task-oriented force and has 2 complementary elements, which is the Special Action Group, also known as SAG, and is composed of Army. And the second category is the Special Rangers Groups, SRG, which are composed of personnel from the Central Armed Police Forces and the State Police Forces.
The protection of prominent people assigned by the Ministry of Home Affairs is the area of expertise for the CRPF's VIP security wing. Union ministers, governors, chief ministers, politicians, government officials, religious leaders, business magnates and other notable individuals are included in this category. Reflecting the CRPF's unwavering dedication to its responsibilities, this elite unit is committed to providing the utmost care, accuracy and professionalism in order to ensure the safety and security of its protectees.
Well, it's now time for a quick short break, but don't go anywhere. On the other side of World DNA, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has admitted that his government had presented no hard proof to India over killing of a pro-Khalistani leader. New Delhi has strongly responded to this, saying Trudeau's testimony confirms what India has been saying from the start.
Meanwhile, India's National Investigation Agency NIA has claimed that Canada-based Khalistani separatists masterminded the murder of a Shaurya Chakra awardee back in 2020. We'll bring you a complete report on that front as well. This is World DNA. Lots more on the other side. Come right back after the break.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Business Masters is a wonderful initiative. It not just talks about what drives business, it also talks about the leader and what drives the leader who runs the business as well.
WION brings you a special business talk show where we bring forth the stories of business leaders.
From breakthrough technologies to visionary leadership, we will unlock the trends, the tactics, and dive into the minds of the industry's most influential leaders.
WION brings you this special series to uncover what drives them in a candid talk show, WION Business Masters.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Special business talk show where we bring forth the stories of business leaders.
From breakthrough technologies to visionary leadership, we will unlock the trends, the tactics, and dive into the minds of the industry's most influential leaders.
WION brings you this special series to uncover what drives them in a candid talk show, WION Business Masters.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching World DNA with Raesha and I'm Shivan. Lots more lined up for you on this side of the show. Let's start with the headlines.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau admits his government had presented no hard proof to India over killing of a pro-Khalistani leader. India says Trudeau's testimony confirms that what New Delhi has been saying from the start.
At UN Security Council meet, US says it is watching Israel's actions to ensure that it does not have a policy of starvation in northern Gaza, as Israel claims more than enough aid has reached the area.
Hezbollah claims to destroy another Israeli tank near the Lebanese border with a guided missile. Day after Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon killed 16 people, including the city mayor.
United States announced a $425 million arms package for Kiev hours after Ukrainian President Zelensky unveiled victory plan to end Russia's invasion. Moscow warns the plan risks sparking direct conflict with NATO.
North Korea says its constitution now defines the South as a hostile state, days after blowing up roads and railways linking the two countries.
British singer Liam Payne, former member of the pop group One Direction, dies aged 31 in Argentina. Police say the death happened after falling from the third floor of a hotel in Buenos Aires.
Carlos Alcaraz sets up a blockbuster clash with his idol Rafael Nadal in the semi-finals of the Six Kings Slam. World number one Yannick Sinner to lock horns with Novak Djokovic later. Well, India has responded firmly to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's recent admission that his government had no hard proof when it accused India of involvement in the killing of pro-Khalistani leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
This comes after Canadian Prime Minister admitted that his government had not provided India with hard evidence but just intelligence regarding the killing of Nijjar on Canadian soil. Nijjar, of course, is a designated terrorist in India. The Ministry of External Affairs of India said that Trudeau's testimony before a public inquiry only confirmed what New Delhi has been saying from the start, that Canada has not provided any evidence to support the serious allegations that it has chosen to level against India and Indian diplomats. Now, the ministry further added that the responsibility for the damage that has been caused to India-Canada ties only is due to the cavalier behavior of Justin Trudeau.
Well, there have been questions over the timing of Trudeau's attack over India, with some alleging that Trudeau's move to escalate matters over killing of Nijjar was triggered by his testimony in front of the commission heading the federal inquiry for foreign interference. The commission is headed by Quebec Court of Appeal, and the inquiry is looking at the ability of institutions to detect and fend off the attempts of hostile states to meddle in Canadian affairs.
Trudeau's latest testimony comes just days after Canada ordered 6 Indian diplomats as persons of interest in a retaliatory move. India decided to expel 6 Canadian diplomats and recalled its own diplomats from Canada. Now, in the midst of all the diplomatic tensions between New Delhi and Ottawa, which as they continue to ratchet up, the National Investigation Agency of India, or NIA, has filed a petition in India's top court.
Well, the Central Probe Agency in its plea says that Canada-based Khalistani separatists, they masterminded the murder of a Shaurya Chakra awardee in the year 2020. NIA officials have informed the Supreme Court that operatives of the banned terror outfit Khalistani Liberation Force, also known as KLF, hatched a plot to murder Balwinder Singh Sandhu outside his home in Punjab's Taran Taran.
The NIA took the case over from Punjab police back in 2021. Now, the two accused, who are Canada-based KLF operative Sunny Toronto and Pakistan-sheltered terrorist Lakhbir Singh, they have been labelled as the primary conspirators for Sandhu's assassination. The anti-terror agency has informed the court that the duo conspired to eliminate anti-Khalistan entities in India. They allegedly believed they could revive the Khalistani movement by targeting them. The NIA said that the main objective of the Khalistan Liberation Force, the KLF, is to create Khalistan by means of an armed struggle. The terrorists allegedly got in contact with radicalized youth in Punjab to plot the murder of Sandhu.
The NIA has also named two others as conspirators and they are absconding right now. Number one is Gurjot Kaur, a US-based operative of KLF, along with Gaganpreet Singh Kalia, based out of Surrey in British Columbia. On the basis of this affidavit, the Supreme Court bench has rejected the bail pleas of Navpreet Singh and Harbinder Singh. Both of them are accused in this murder. Well, based on NIA's affidavit further, the court has denied bail to the murder accused.
Now, Balwinder Singh Sandhu was awarded the Shaurya Chakra in April 1993 for opposing the Khalistani insurgency during its peak in Punjab.
Well, all these revelations come in the wake of a diplomatic fallout between India and Canada. This after Canada tagged Indian diplomats as persons of interest in the death of Khalistani separatist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. In retaliatory action, New Delhi expelled 6 Canadian diplomats while recalling its own from Ottawa. In other global news, mere 2 days after North Korea blew up road and rail routes leading to Seoul, Pyongyang has now designated South Korea as a hostile state.
State media reports that have now confirmed that North Korea's National Assembly has indeed amended the nation's constitution in line of Kim Jong-un's vow to drop unification as a national goal.
Earlier this week, North Korea blew up sections of inter-Korean roads and rail lines on its side of the heavily fortified border between both the nations, between North and South Korea. According to South Joint Chiefs of Staff, some northern parts of road and rail lines connected to the south were destroyed.
A video provided by South Korea's military showed plumes of smoke emerging from an explosion site at a road near the western border town of Kaesong. Pyongyang's actions prompted South Korea's military to fire warning shots.
According to North Korea's KCNA news agency, the demolition of these transport routes to the Republic of Korea by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea is a legitimate action taken against a hostile state, as now defined by the DPRK's constitution.
Now, these developments follow a key 2-day meet of the North Korean Supreme People's Assembly last week. Following months of rhetoric, Pyongyang officials were expected to officially designate South Korea as a separate country and a main rival. Earlier in January, Kim Jong-un called for an amendment to the nation's constitution to erase unification as a goal in its ties with the South. This is after the supreme leader accused Seoul of conspiring with the United States to undermine and collapse his regime. Gold prices in India surged to an all-time high of rupees 76,700 per 10 grams on Wednesday.
And this is only reflecting the global trends at this point of time. The rise comes as US's 10-year bond yields dropped below the 4.05% mark, prompting increased demand for safe haven assets like gold. The price increase is further fueled by rising global public debt, with the IMF predicting that debt could hit 115% of GDP within the next 3 years. This is nearly 20% higher than the current predictions. Geopolitical tensions, especially in West Asia, are also contributing to this surge in precious metals.
Domestically, the weakening Indian rupee has also played a major role in pushing gold prices higher. The rupee fell to a record low of 84.04 against the US dollar, making gold imports more expensive. Additionally, the ongoing festive season in India has spurred a higher demand for gold, especially for jewelry purchases. With gold deeply rooted in cultural traditions, this seasonal demand is contributing significantly to the price surge. As a result, both retail and investment buyers are turning to gold, boosting its market value during these uncertain economic times. Talking about investment trends in gold, digital gold is emerging as a popular alternative, especially in India's Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. Unlike traditional gold, which involves physical ownership, digital gold allows buyers to purchase small quantities of gold online, backed by actual 24-karat gold stored in secure vaults. This form of gold is more accessible, as investors can buy and sell it at prevailing market rates without concerns over storage or authenticity.
Digital gold offers the flexibility to convert these holdings into physical gold or use them for jewelry purchases without incurring high transaction costs. Millennials are driving this shift due to the transparency, convenience and security that gold provides, positioning it as a practical investment for a wider range of consumers.
Donald Trump and Kamala Harris offer starkly different solutions to America's housing crisis, with housing affordability at the center of this debate.
Well, we'll break down what each contestant is promising and how it could impact millions of Americans. Our next report trying to answer just that question. Take a look.
In the ongoing battle over America's housing crisis, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump present sharply contrasting plans. Vice President Harris has proposed a $25,000 grant for first-time home buyers and a long-term strategy to build 3 million affordable homes. Her plan seeks to fund these initiatives by taxing the ultra-wealthy and curbing institutional investors, driving up housing prices. On the other hand, Donald Trump's plan focuses on deregulating housing markets and encouraging private sector growth. He proposes cutting red tape for developers to spur housing construction, arguing that a free market approach will naturally increase housing supply and affordability. But what does America's middle class want?
We don't have lavish, outlandish things. We don't go on crazy vacations. You know, we need groceries and our house payment and our car payment and our childcare payment. And that's all we can afford right now.
Housing prices across the US have increased by 40% since 2020, putting immense pressure on home buyers. Kamala Harris's plan offers financial support to those struggling to enter the housing market.
And by the end of my first term, we will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals that are affordable for the middle class.
The proposal also targets institutional investors whose large-scale purchasing of homes has contributed to price hikes. Harris is pushing for taxes on ultra-wealthy individuals to fund the construction of 3 million affordable homes over the next decade, hoping to create long-term housing solutions while easing the pressure on home prices. Meanwhile, Trump advocates for fewer regulations, promising to streamline housing development processes. He argues that loosening government oversight will allow the private sector to boost housing supply, reduce costs, and address the affordability crisis. Trump also aims to streamline zoning laws and reduce environmental reviews, which he believes are hindering construction projects and driving up costs.
As the 2024 race heats up, housing affordability remains a top concern for voters. With Donald Trump pushing for deregulation and Kamala Harris focusing on direct financial support for home buyers, the future of American housing policy could take two very different paths. Business Report WION World is One.
Let's now take a look at all the news coming in from the world of technology. The Cybersecurity Association of China has called for a security review of Intel goods sold in the country, accusing the US chip maker of harming China's national security. CSAC is a non-profit organization that operates in the cybersecurity field and maintains close connections with the Chinese government. Though not an official government body, its stance could influence China's cyberspace administration, which has the authority to initiate security reviews. In a statement on its WeChat page, CSAC has urged a thorough review of Intel's goods to protect national security and the rights of Chinese consumers. This follows a similar move last year when China's cyberspace regulator banned the use of US company Micron Technologies products in major infrastructure after they failed a security review.
Microsoft has settled a lawsuit brought by a group of gamers attempting to block its $69 billion purchase of Activision Blizzard. The terms of the settlement remain undisclosed, but a recent court filing confirmed that both parties have agreed to drop the case and cover their own legal fee. The lawsuit, filed in 2022 by 10 gamers in San Francisco, raised concerns about Microsoft's potential monopoly over popular titles like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Overwatch. Microsoft's acquisition of the video game company, which took nearly 22 months to finalize, faced resistance from competitors and regulators over concerns that it would hurt competition and smaller game developers.
According to a recent media report, several leading AI models are falling short of meeting European regulations in key areas like cybersecurity. Well, a new tool manufactured by Swiss startup Lattice Flow AI in collaboration with ETH Zurich and Bulgaria's INSEAD has tested AI models from companies like Meta and OpenAI across multiple categories. This tool assigns scores between 0 and 1 for each model, evaluating factors such as safety and technical robustness as well. The results showed that the models from Alibaba, Anthropic, OpenAI, Meta and Mistral all scored 0.75 or higher. The evaluation aligns with the European Union's upcoming AI Act, which will be enforced over the next 2 years.